in a world full of negative people. Hey man, I'm just trying to be a positive guy, a positive farmer, a positive outfitter. This is a Shark Farmer podcast with your host, Rob Sharkey. Whatever.
And welcome again to Shark Farmer Podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Rob Sharkey, and today we're going to go out to Montana. We're going to go to, get this, Luster, Montana. Sounds very passionate, Tony.
You say what you want, Rob.
Okay, we're going to be talking with Tony Fast. He's on that YouTube, The Fast Ag, but that's also the name of your farm, right?
Yes, that's the farm that me and my wife own, correct?
Gotcha. Okay. Where is Luster in Montana?
We are about 40 miles from Canada, 100 miles from the North Dakota border.
You're barely American.
Barely American, yep.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, Tony,
we get accused of being Canadian accent or Minnesota accent all the time.
I'm going to say you're more Canadian accent than the Minnesota accent. I don't know. What do you even?
I'd agree with that.
Do you even hear it?
Me?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I don't notice it until you get to the south. Then there's a difference. Everyone else just sounds the same to me, but the O's and
Okay, I want you to say this.
Yep.
I'm about ready to put on my boots and then listen to Rob's ad.
I'm about ready to put on my boots and listen to Rob's ad.
That's kind of muddled. I mean, that's not true Canadian. That's not Minnesotan. Okay, I'm going to say that's a Luster, Montana accent.
There you go. I'll go with that.
Okay, we'll just leave it there. Today's podcast is brought to you by Shark Farmer TV because Rob likes to sign things because he's anxious and he doesn't always read how many ads are actually involved. You ever done that, Tony?
You mean the user ads on any app you download or anything? Yeah, I don't really pay attention to those.
If you get one of those Apple products, you don't read every single word?
I don't have enough time.
I do, and I parse it out, and then I ask my lawyer if it's okay. But then what are you going to do? Not hit yes? Because you need the damn whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll get you. Today's podcast brought to you by Shark Farmer TV on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Central on RFD TV. And then they replay it Saturday, 1:30 Central on RFD TV. And then get this, Tony. You ready? You ready to have your mind blown?
Yeah.
I'm putting the episodes up on YouTube. You ever heard of YouTube?
I have heard of YouTube.
Yeah, it's like this whole website.
I've watched a few things.
It's so cool. They've got this website, and anybody can put up a video there. I don't know. Apparently, it's really, really popular.
There is a little bit of ag sector growing on there, yeah.
I did. I looked around the ag stuff. Actually, none of it was really that good, though.
What's funny is when we were in San Antonio for Commodity Classic, YouTube was there in the FBN booth with us. And they told us that ag is the fastest growing sector of YouTube right now. Cosmetics was the highest one, and now it's ag.
Really? Well, did they say why?
It's not just what you and I think is ag. It's the backyard chickens and homesteads, and that's all considered ag to them.
Huh. Well, I mean, I don't mean to brag, Tony, but I am sitting comfortably at 337 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to brag. I don't want you to feel inferior, but I mean that it is what it is. It's a fact. You can't change that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, go check it out. Check out the TV show on RFD TV. All right, Tony Fast from Luster, Montana. All right, give us some background because you are running the farm out there, but how did that happen? How did little Tony become to where you are now?
Grew up here on the same yard. We're actually living in my grandparents' house that my dad grew up in, my grandpa grew up in, and my great-grandpa lived in. So I know there's some farms that can say that, but not a lot of them, so that's pretty cool. Grew up here and just spent lots of time and riding in the back of the versatile tractor and riding with dad's seat and summer following, all that stuff growing up, and just knew that I think I'm going to be a farmer.
Well, okay, there's two different kinds, right? And both of them end up loving agriculture, but there's the kids that are out there every single moment and they can't get enough. And then there's kids I don't want to mess with the farm. And then they seem like they go off and then they come back and love it. Which one were you?
I was always involved. I knew, from the start. I have one brother and he would be out there if he had to, but he was content just tinkering around doing projects on the yard. He liked to do things build the things out of wood or mess around in the shop a little bit. And unless he was needed out in the field, it wasn't his interest. So he lives in Kansas.
So who's all involved in the farm now?
My dad and I are the owners, or whatever you want to call it, of, like, he has his own ground. I've got my own ground. And then Grandpa started a corporation back in the 70s, 80s sometime that we're the majority owners of that now together. So my dad and I, my brother-in-law is working for us now, and then just another hired guy that we hired this year, and just the four of us. And then Amy helps when we need her in the field, running a combine or land roller or wherever she can fill in, and our Uber driver when we need an Uber driver out here. So
you get Uber out there? That's pretty cool.
Well, I have to provide the vehicle and the driver, but yeah.
Okay, when you're growing up, though, I mean, were you that stereotype kid, FFA, 4-H, and then Farm Bureau, all that stuff?
We did not have FFA at the school we grew up at, but we could have gone 40 minutes to another school to have it, maybe my junior year. And I think we were misinformed about what FFA really was at that time. Looking back, wish you probably would have done it, but we didn't really know what it was all about. And 4-H, though, yeah, I grew up for, 4 or 5 years within 4-H in elementary school, but never got into the cattle side of showing animals. It was more just the 4-H club stuff.
You were doing woodworking and baking brownies.
How'd you know?
Well, I was in 4-H too. Come on, man.
Whatever got you the $4 ribbon, right?
Yeah, that's right. Whatever you brought. I mean, it could be the biggest piece of crap in the world. Oh, here's a blue ribbon. Yay.
I did get a second place ribbon for a woodworking project that I was a little disappointed at, because he was like, you should have done something more challenging. I'm like, come on, man. It's a great project.
What did you do?
It was a wood bench, or a step stool, wooden step stool deal. And it was just too simple for the guy, I guess. I don't know. I should have done some wood carvings in it, maybe. I don't know what it would have taken to get the blue ribbon there, but
was this last year? How old were you when you made said stool?
It was 7th or 8th grader, maybe. I don't know. I was elementary school.
Huh. I'm guessing your judge was an ass. I'm just saying.
I shouldn't say, because I really don't know who it was. So, yeah.
I don't believe you.
He saw more potential in me.
I'm guessing you still have his name on a list somewhere ready to take him out.
No. I mean, there was only a handful of 4-H judges that probably could figure out who it was, but I'm over it. We're good.
Okay. I mean, I'm not hearing that in your voice, but we'll move on. You said you went off to college. Where'd you go?
Went to a trade school in state here for welding, and figured, heck, if this farming thing don't work out, welders needed everywhere. So kind of messing around in the shop on some projects and stuff like that anyways. And that was a year program, and oil field was really getting busy in our area. Well, we were kind of on the edge of it when I got done with that. So I set up a portable pickup and had a welder and tools on that, and it ended up working on oil rigs when they were on the rig moves. A neighbor that was doing that had been working in the oil field welding for years and wanted more help. So he kind of contracted me to help him out. Spent a couple winters for the most part. Occasionally in the summer he gave me to come help, but summers are pretty busy.
Mm-hmm. How old are you?
Oh, come on now.
Hey, it's not that tough of a question.
Somewhere in there.
35-ish?
Yeah, do the math. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, if you're 35, growing up, you saw your parents go through some times in ag that weren't that great. So when you do this welding thing, I mean, was there ever a thought that you wondered, hey, is it worth doing this farming thing? Because it's not always roses.
Well, that's kind of what the welding was, to supplement me living and farming a little bit at that time. Yeah, it was definitely, child of the 80s. And if you know anything about weather in Montana in the 80s, I think the grasshoppers harvested more grain than the combines did for most of those years. So, not good. It was a pretty big deal to play in rain puddles at about age 7. It started raining.
So was this encouraged by your family, the whole diversity aspect of it?
Not so much. It was probably more of I don't want to sit in ag business classes. I'm just going to go do something quick and learn a trade. school's not my thing. Wasn't my thing.
Okay.
So.
But you went to this welding school knowing, hey, well, I better not live my whole life just wondering about canola prices.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
For the welding program, it was a Miller training center for the reps. So we had all the coolest, newest, brand new stuff before it was even available at dealers. So it was a good school to learn all the new technology at. And
I've watched your videos. I've seen your beads. It's like smashed peanut butter.
Is that good? Like smashed peanut butter?
No.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
It's not. In fact, it's
okay.
What's the opposite of a compliment? That would be what I was doing to you.
Okay. As long as you don't say they look like chicken poop, we're good.
Well, no, they don't look that good. Oh, yeah, obviously you can weld. I mean, you show it on your videos and that. You're good at fabricating and stuff like that. I mean, did the school really help you with that? Or as a farm kid, did you already know it and you just needed kind of like the certification?
I'd say like the basic technique, I had somewhat of an idea, but maybe the fine tuning and what a weld is actually supposed to look like was learned at school.
Mm-hmm.
I could make things stick together before that, but I learned a lot in the trade school too. And we had like layout class and stuff like that too, like where we learned how to build an oil tank and to shape, make round to square transitions, like all that kind of stuff. So it was more than just a bunch of meatheads running beads and cinder block cubicles.
You brought up the oil boom. And, for those of us that don't live out west there, I mean, what is the situation now? Because, I mean, you hear all this stuff like, oh, it's just ghost towns and all that. Well, I mean, what does it look like out there now?
It's definitely like slowed with what's happened recently. Town of Williston, North Dakota is kind of the closest big town to us that really was affected. And it went from a town of, 5,000-6,000 people to 30,000 in a couple of years. And there's hotels that you wouldn't find in Fargo, North Dakota there. There's tons of man camps and hotels and businesses and restaurants. Like any restaurant that you basically want to eat at is probably in Williston. That really grew like crazy. They had to shut down the waste stations because there was trucks backed up for so far there at Williston, and traffic got horrible. And then it kind of slowed down when oil was $140 a barrel for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And when it dropped back down to about 60, all the riffraff finally left because they fired the people that it didn't want but had to have earlier. It's definitely more of a good old town again, but it's not what it ever was, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, like you said, maybe that's not all that bad because the stories were true. Anytime you got to hire someone for McDonald's for like $25, you're not going to get a good McMuffin.
Yeah. Or the 16-year-old kid is driving around in a Corvette after 3 years working at McDonald's. They literally did not stock shelves at Walmart. Like they would roll pallets of things in the aisles and it would just get cleaned off.
Really?
They couldn't find enough workers to stock shelves and it was getting bought up that fast.
Oh, good golly. The whole boomer bust thing. But all right, you graduated school. Then what happened?
Came back to the farm and picked up a land lease. And then was doing the welding thing off and on. Met Amy, and she moved up into the area, started teaching.
Whoa. Where'd you meet Amy?
On the internet.
Farmers Only?
No, it was not Farmers Only, Rob.
I was just asking.
This was long before Farmers Only.
How do you know if you don't ask, Tony?
This is back in 2005, so Farmers Only wasn't even thought of yet.
What were you in? Were you in welder farmer meets woman chat groups? She grew up in Nebraska and family farms down there, and her dad didn't, but her uncle and grandpa were farming, and the whole like Case John Deere thing at Christmas got a little awkward occasionally, but it was good to find someone that had some background in farm, especially coming to rural, desolate Montana. So her family had some common sense and was running the green stuff.
Yeah, I think it was more tradition.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, whatever. Floats your boat. I don't know if you can really get much of a lemon these days, can you?
No, I would agree with that. We ran the John Deere, 680 last year, 780, and just ran rented a third machine, and that was the only thing available. Our harvest was really drawn out, and everyone had combines, whatever they could find they were using, and it was a nice machine.
Yeah, I'd run a red one if I had to.
Going backwards in
really desperate
case technology, but
like really desperate. I would run maybe. All right.
There's some things I liked about that deer, and there's some things that I'm like, well, Case left that technology 15 years ago. But anyways.
You know what's so sad? What it comes down to a lot of the times when they have these arguments, it's stuff in the cab. It's like, oh, that the air conditioned seat is better in the green than the red. I'm like, okay, all right, well, that's where we've gotten to be in agriculture, haven't we?
If you want my honest opinion, if you put from the seat forward cab and feeder house of a John Deere combine on the Case combine, it would be a pretty sweet deal.
Well, have you tried one of those tri-bines yet? Those look pretty cool. There's no steering wheel in them.
No, the tri-bine or the Ideal?
I thought the tri-bine, the tri-bine. Tri-bine did not have any steering wheel in it. I sat in the thing like a little kid up there playing with the controllers and hitting buttons.
Some years we have enough trouble getting a 300 bushel grain tank fill in a combine. I don't know what I need 1,000 bushel for.
We will not go into the conceptual mistakes of the tri-bine. I think we'll let that just die its slow death.
That was a heck of an idea that they were thinking.
It really wasn't. I mean, you still got to dump it to a cart. But all right, Tony, focus. We want to go back and talk about Amy. She knew what she was getting into, right? Because her family at least had some ag experience.
Yeah, her dad is a ag banker and told her never to marry a farmer, though.
Yeah, that's wise advice.
I think every farm wife was told that came from a farm that married another farmer. Like every dad that don't marry a farmer, right?
And how many kids do you have?
3 daughters.
3 daughters. Okay, how old?
Oh, come on. You got to put me on the spot.
Yeah, again, not a tough question, Tony.
7, 9, and 10.
7, 9, and 10.
Or 11.
We're going to get into your YouTube, but let me ask you this while we're talking about your kids. I mean, because you openly show your kids, which I think is great. Not everybody wants to do that, though. What was your thought process when it came to, all right, are we going to show the kids in the videos or not?
I definitely don't want to use them to grow the channel. I don't want to go down that road.
Hey, you got to get some good out of them.
Yeah, it's part of the farm. Like, this is life. They're involved. They come out to the shop, and I got to put a chain back on a bike or whatever. Or we're putting together some project things. Can you help me put bolts in holes and hold them for me? And like, that's what happens. So they're going to be on the video, but
I like it. Honestly,
I
think it's great because it's part of the farm. Anybody that has kids and farms knows it is part of the farm. So I like it when you show it. On the other side, I do understand when people have YouTube, especially bigger YouTubes like yourself, where they don't want to show the family for the comments or whatever and stuff like that. Do you ever think as they get older, maybe they won't be shown, or have you even got to that point yet?
They're probably going to be running equipment when they get older, so they're probably going to be in it more. I don't know.
Yeah, wait.
It's not really a thought. This channel's just over a year old, so I haven't thought about those things yet.
They turn about 16, and you get that first comment from some little pimple-faced punk saying, "Oh, she's pretty," and then you want to like burn the world down.
Maybe.
So where are we? We're done with school. We got married, and then what?
After the oil field thing kind of got old of chasing 100 miles one way to go work on a project, ran into a high school buddy at the county fair, I guess it was, and got done with college and was working. We kind of got talking. I said, we were going to build some hopper bottoms for some grain bins or whatever, kind of joking. I had the welding experience, and we got a bunch of grain bins that I don't like shoveling out. Let's put cones under them, and we can see how that works. And a couple of weeks later, he called me back, and he's like, how serious are you about welding? Like, I'm tired of spraying ditches. If you want to build one, let's do it. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So we built the first hopper bottom. You know what I'm talking about? Like a cone on the bottom of a bin? Like, this is not a Midwest thing.
Yes, I do know, mainly because I watch your videos. And that is a big difference, right? And I first saw it when I went up to Canada. It's like all your bins are hopper bottoms compared to us, which are the flat. I'm still not entirely sure why the difference, why that is. But, hey, if it works for you guys, it works for us. Why not stay that way?
Multiple crops and different ownerships and not huge yields. If we had a 75,000 bushel bin, we probably wouldn't be able to fill it with one crop in one spot. Like, our farms are spread out and our vineyards are spread out. And keeping everything segregated, smaller bins just works for us. So.
Well, and that is it too, the quality. If you've got, I don't know, wheat, you've got the one quality wheat, you're going to put it in that bin compared to the other bin. That I heard in Canada. I don't know if it's the same in Montana.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that. Back when we were, had some summer fallow or chem fallow wheat and continuous crop, there'd be different proteins, so we'd keep it separate. So, yeah, that's part of it too.
Yeah. Plus, I don't think you guys like to shovel bins like we do with the sweeps.
No, we do have a couple flat bottoms that have sweeps in them, and yeah, that's shovel out 30 of those to one 18-foot with a drag auger. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, just remember, Tony, flat bottom bins make the rockin' world go round.
True.
See, you're too young. You don't even get that reference. That's okay.
No.
We'll move on.
No.
We'll move on, Tony. Okay. So did you go ahead and start this company then?
Yeah, it started out as fast fab when I was welding in the oil field, and we built one cone. It took us a week to build an 18 diameter cone, and we flipped it back and forth like 3 times to weld it and get it all figured out. And we took that cone to the dealership in town and parked it at the Case dealership, and nothing happened for like a week or two. And then a guy calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm building a new shop and I need to move the bins from where they're at because that's where I want my shop." And wanted to order some cones, and he ordered like 12 of them. And we're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll get on that." And that's how I kind of started, and hired another guy. And we built his 12 cones, and then order just kept on coming in, and ended up in 3 winters, we built 170 cones for bins. And Secundiac or Meridian now approached me and wanted me to be a bin dealer. And so we sold new bins with cones, and a lot of CRP acres were coming out at the time and getting back into production, and nobody had enough storage. So it was a pretty good run, and up to, 2012 maybe. When corn was high, wheat was high up here too, obviously, and everyone figured, let's keep farming more acres, and worked out pretty good.
For a while.
For a while, yeah.
All right, take me through this. No, I want to go back to that week you talked about, because first of all, I love it when people put it out there, because it takes some cojones to go ahead and start a business and to put yourself out there. You put that bin out there at a dealership and nothing happens for a week. Tell me what was going through your mind that week.
We were building a second cone because we figured, well, we've got our own bins. We'll just put on them. So we started advertising and waiting to see what happened. Like at this time, there's guys hauling cones from Canada into the United States because of exchange rate and all that stuff. But they could haul 2 on a semi, and we could get like 11 cones worth of steel brought in on a semi. So like the shipping from here, and we're back roads to anywhere from our farm, so guys could come pick up their own bins and didn't have to go down much highway. And like we knew it was going to happen. We didn't know that we would be buying truckloads of square tube the next year. And one of those things, like you just didn't know what to expect, but you knew you would sell some.
So you were never really worried that this was going to take off?
I don't know if we really went into it with expectations. Like we knew the buddy was looking for something to do, and if we built a few cones for ourselves and kept him busy for the winter, that was probably good enough, but didn't know where it was going.
All right. Well, that's fantastic when you get little surprises like that, because a lot of times everybody's like, oh man, this is going to be great. We're going to put it out there. And then you realize how slow things start.
Like YouTube.
All right, let's jump over there, right? Because I think that's how most people know you, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, when did you start this thing?
The whole social media thing, I'd have to go back and look at Twitter when that started, but it's probably been 8 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And, just kind of was watching my comments and people like backlashing that had no clue what was going on social media. People don't have a clue what we're doing on farms. They think straw hats, overalls, and Bloomberg's version of the farmer, right?
So you're talking as for like the proverbial townies, right? They didn't have any idea what was going on.
Food comes from a grocery store.
Gotcha. That was part of your social media.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was finding on social media, that people had no clue what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where the YouTube thing is like, well, I had watched like one or two of Welker's videos where they're doing some shop projects that I ran across.
Who?
And Welker's.
I've never heard of her.
And kind of like I didn't watch much of their farming things. I thought here they're like some farmers and they did more YouTube stuff on shop projects. I didn't do my research, I guess. Like I'd met Zach like before in Omaha at the Farmer to Farmer conference, and kind of like the neighbor was like from us up here. My neighbor was like, "Yeah, there's like you need to start watching his videos. They're pretty cool." And thought, well, his farm is way different than my farm. Like, we'll give this a shot. Just kind of do a little bit of a vlog thing about it, and didn't really have much expectations of that either. Or that's kind of how it started on the YouTube side. I don't think there was near as many channels as then as there is now. Obviously, like it's booming.
Daily, they're popping up, aren't they?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I thought that there was just a couple of them. And then since I started, it seems like, man, there's a lot more showing up, like you're saying, almost daily.
Okay, so what did you start with? What were you showing?
We had an MX200 that had some oil pan gasket leaking and a few other things, and we pulled the engine out of that tractor and some of that, and cleaning seed, getting ready for the last year's crop, and kind of just showing what we're going through, like what it takes to farm. And I don't think we've really changed what we're sharing. Like, it's more of a daily. Videos are not a one-day video. They could be 3 or 4 days in one video now. Like, it's just kind of a bits and pieces and what's kind of highlights of what we're doing.
There's a lot of people that I think would want to start these, but either they try it or they don't because, we had that one piece of equipment out, or, it looks a little junky, that part of the farm, or, my hair was messed up. I mean, did any of that go through your mind, or did you just start putting stuff out there?
I don't think I really edit anything out that I'm ashamed of or embarrassed about. I don't think. Like, I don't try to censor it like that, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, when I get really frustrated when we have a stuck tractor, I might not show that I'm really frustrated, but besides that. But stuck tractors make really good YouTube content. So.
Oh, people love stuck tractors, don't they?
Yeah.
All right, you're a welder, you're a farmer, right? Two very important things, two very things that are hard to do, two things that have absolutely nothing to do with editing and producing videos. How did you even go about learning all this stuff?
I did watch some YouTube videos on how to use iMovie for editing.
You watch YouTube to learn how to do YouTube. Love it.
At church, I work in the sound booth and stuff. We did a podcast of the sermon, and so I would cut out the worship and announcements and put an intro and outro in there, and take out what didn't need to be in there. So I had some background in the audio side, not the video, but that was kind of learned some of that stuff that way.
Whoa. You were putting up the podcast of the sermons and you took out the announcements?
Because someone that doesn't need to know announcements from church, just wants to listen to a sermon, doesn't need to know what's going on in church.
Yeah, but my 80-year-old grandmother just had a birthday, and you took that out, you bastard.
I don't know. And then the worship stuff, you can't leave that in there because that's not copyrighted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, I didn't think about that. All right, focus, Tony. We got to get back to your YouTube.
The announcements got put on the website of the church, so.
I bet you still somebody was cussing you. Some little sweet little old lady that you would never thought would say bad words in her head was cussing you because they announced that it was her birthday and you took it out.
Well, they didn't know it was me till now, so.
All right, so you started this thing, and you already alluded to it. It didn't really do much in the beginning.
I didn't have a place to really share it. I didn't have a ton of followers anywhere. Like I hadn't really started Instagram stuff then.
Mm-hmm.
I'd done, would share a few of the videos on Twitter and my Facebook page and stuff. And I still get comments on the videos now that they're like the videos, they were subscribing. They subscribed back when there was 400 subscribers. Somehow people were finding them early. Last June, we go up to Canada for the Farm Progress show,
mm-hmm.
and Zach happened to be there too, and we're walking around the show.
The Millennial Farmer, for those who,
the Millennial Farmer.
For the two people that don't know.
And we're walking around the show, and the next thing he's like asking me a question, and I look, and there's a camera in my face. And then we spent a couple days of the show together and stuff. We get 4th of July weekend, then he sends me a text that says, "Here comes the subs," and I'm like, "What is he talking about?" And all of a sudden, my phone starts going off, a subscriber count going up, and from then, over that, I think it was 4th of July weekend or something like that. Like one of the videos really took off, and just from him sharing my channel name or whatever,
mm-hmm.
my subscriber count, like I can still see that little blurb in my subscriber, like bar graph or line graph from when that video posted of Zach's, and that's what really kind of got the growth started. And it seems like it gains 100 to 200 followers a day, but there's channels that are gaining 1,000 a day too. So,
well, that's cool. Because he doesn't have to help people, right? He doesn't need to. So I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Very much appreciated. Without that, I don't know where it would be, but very thankful that he was willing to do that.
Well, I'm sure it would grow because you watch it and it's good video. You're good with the drones. You're good with. It's cool. Where you farm is different. I love the shots where you're showing your ground, and then it shows the past that, and it looks like the frickin' Badlands.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Our farm is not far from a big valley, and it goes from flat farm ground to. I hope I can make this with a 4-wheeler. Get up this with a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, it is gorgeous, and you're able to show that. Your drone footage is fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of rocks, though.
Yeah. We found rocks. We started digging out of the ground that were like, let's just put dirt over the top of this one.
Yes.
It's going to take an excavator to get this one out.
The next generation can deal with this son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's some big ones out there.
Okay, so you're sitting now at about 24,000 subscribers as I look at it. That is very impressive. Did you ever think it would get to that?
I would have hoped. I didn't know what to expect. Sure, you would have been like, let's hit 100,000 by the first year, but that's unrealistic. There's no book written on how YouTube success happens.
I plan on doing it. We got 300 and whatever. So hey, it's just a matter of time. A year, no problem.
But you got other platforms to push you to that, so that's definitely achievable.
Yeah, nobody listens to those. Anyway, all right. So you've grown, you got there. Then you have this. It's this scenario, right, where everybody kind of gets to that grows to. Do I advertise on it or not? Was that an argument in your head, or did you just go for it?
You mean monetizing the channel?
Yeah.
I never really thought about not monetizing it, but it was never intended to be we're going to do this to make a money thing in the first place. It was I don't know if I knew when I very first started it that what was available, hey, you can actually make money on this. I knew there was ads on there and did some research to that after it was started and wanted to know what it took to achieve that level. And so let's work to that. Let's get to that point where we can start monetizing it then. Because it's not what it takes to produce things, and it's not free. So having a little money to buy cameras and, whatever, maybe a different computer for editing and different stuff like that was a driver to it. Because if there wasn't money to offset the cost and time right now, there definitely wouldn't be near as much let's produce 1 or 2 videos a week. It might be here's a seating video and here's some random shop project video. But trying to produce more videos to keep it going now is where I'm at, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you've reached a very big level. I'm sure there's companies coming to you and say, hey, here's a wrench. Use a wrench in the video and you can have it. That's got to be hard to navigate.
Yeah, it's starting to we're getting some of that. We've had some discounted equipment that we've been able to purchase that like was needed, but they were, I had talked to them prior to this all happening and they were interested in working with us and be like, hey, this thing completely quit on us. Do you want to change brands for us? And they're like, yeah, we'd love to. So that happened with like Eggtron, with our lock-in sensors. Our Eggtron sensors went bad, and Intelligent Egg was definitely interested in working with us. They didn't give us a system or nothing like that, but they were wanting some exposure, and we needed the system. Needed a system, so that worked really good. Yeah, like Barry reached out and like, you want to be an influencer for us? Send you some pants and some work boots and stuff like that. And yeah, there's opportunities there.
What kind of world do we live in where you become a model?
I don't know. Kind of weird, huh?
That's awesome.
Tell you, though, Ariat work teams are the best ones out there. I've tried a lot of different ones.
Listen to you, Ricky Bobby. Pretty soon you're gonna have Fig Newton written across your combine windows here pretty soon. You know who Zach Moen is in Minnesota on Instagram? Oh, come on, don't do this to me, because I don't really know Instagram, and then I feel like an idiot because I don't know people.
We were joking about, we got these big combines. Why aren't they wrapped like in NASCAR decals with sponsorships? Maybe there's something to this, especially with as much people see it on social media anymore. Some combine out in the middle of Montana that no one sees doesn't make sense, but these companies are definitely seeing some benefit in exposure that's provided.
Here's the thing. If you got a big platform on whatever and you wrap your equipment in, let's say, Busch beer, right? It could take off. I think, and this is getting way inside baseball, I think the whole thing is whether or not the farmer is going to know the value of it to the company and actually charge enough. But that's, I don't know. It's an interesting little piece of advertising and promotion and all that stuff that we're going through right now with some of these guys that are getting so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's some potential out there.
What would you like to come next? I mean, how do you picture this whole thing in 5 years?
No, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like, sure, you want things to grow and get bigger, but then yet if it like kind of quit growing, for it to end would be fine too. Like, it definitely takes a lot of time. It's not hey, that video was 20 minutes long. It took me 40 minutes to make it. No, it's 2 to 3 hours. And if you put drone footage and edit all that drone footage up so that it mixes with the music well and stuff, like that's probably another hour just on that drone clip. Mm-hmm. So thank goodness for auto steer.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do enjoy doing it. And it's meeting the people, like when we get to these farm shows and stuff, the social media people, getting to know them. But I didn't really expect to go into these commodity classic and be there and let people know who I was. But it's kind of like a little awkward, but it's kind of cool that people actually are enjoying it enough to pick you out of a crowd, I guess.
Yeah, I went up to you and I said, hey, I'm Rob Sharkey. It's very cool to meet you. And you go, do I know you from somewhere? It was awkward.
That's not how it went, and you know it.
That's totally how it went. It was Commodity Classic. Here I am. I'm walking into this FBN booth, and you got this big crowd with the big rock stars there, and I sheepishly go up and shake her hand. And, I mean, you were polite. You were very polite. Yeah, most people would never caught on that you had no idea who I was, but, you know, it is what it is.
You're funny, Rob. I still laugh every time I watch the previous sponsorship video you did about the rain gauge and your kid jumping into the rain gauge. I still crack up about that one.
Oh, the old Farmer's Edge one.
That's probably where I first saw you.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could say that or not.
Oh, yeah, we're still friends with Farmer's Edge. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
2 years is a long time to have a contract with somebody. For anybody out there ever wanting to think about that. And it is. It was for them too. No, we still have a great relationship with them. But I mean, you can't. How many ads can you do? You want to like do something different every week? Yeah, it ran its course.
Yeah. No, that's probably where I saw your content on Twitter, and then ran across that video and kept following from there, I guess. So
Yeah.
I knew who you were.
You had to dig that thing out. All right, here you are. You're this guy from Montana. You're a farmer out there, and then you're at the Commodity Classic, and people are coming up to you, people you never met, people you don't know, but people that are enjoying your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. I didn't know if you were going to keep going or not. Like, was there a punchline there? Or
well, how's that feel?
I don't know. Like, it wasn't what I was aiming to do for this. Like, it just happens. The product of this whole thing. I didn't say, like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel so I become famous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a farmer. Like, most of those people that are at that show, they're just farmers. I just happen to share a lot of things about our life on the internet.
Yeah. That Meredith Bernard was there. She's not right in the head.
She's the one that you were talking to when we ran into each other.
What? You know what? Okay, yeah, I don't want to get into all of this, but that was a wake-up call to how well-known she was, because I'm just simply talking to her out in the main aisle, right? And I couldn't hold a conversation with her because people keep coming up and said, oh, you're this farm wife. I love everything that you do, and you're so amazing and all this stuff. So I eventually just left.
Maybe. Yeah, it's probably a good move. What's crazy is how there's all these different groups of followers. Obviously, Zach, I think, I'm trying to figure out who your audience is. Meredith's audience is completely different than Zach's. And,
yeah.
And, like Welker's, and like Zach's videos are super entertaining because it's just his personality, and he could probably do anything and make it a super good video just because his one-liners and personality and all that stuff. And like Meredith has that group of followers that like her cooking stuff and the ranch side. And if you went and look at our analytics from all our different channels, like it would be way different on ages and male versus female. And like, it's crazy how there's all these different audiences out there, but yet we're all still sharing the same industry.
Well, and I think that's what some people forget sometimes. I mean, you mentioned the people that have helped you and the people that you've met and worked with. That's good to see. I mean, it's good to see that people realize that, all right, I can have a platform over here and still help somebody else over there and it not be a competition thing, because a rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's different about other industries or whatever. Like, I think there's a lot of competition in social media outside of agriculture. Like, there's probably a little rivalry stuff in ag, but we're all trying to promote our same thing that we love.
Yeah. I personally hate this manure spreader podcast. Those guys are a bunch of jerks. All right. Let me end by asking you this question. All right. Most farmers, I would say, are Christian. It is always a question. It's always a struggle, especially in seeding and harvest when weather isn't good, to not work on Sundays. But that's a choice you guys made, right?
Yeah, we've never, from early on, never did, work on Sundays. Feed cows when we had cows around the place.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only work that got done on a Sunday. Occasionally we might have weather come in, but yeah, Sundays are church and family day, and that's our day to go hang out with friends and family and go to church, and what we're all doing during the week, that's what it's all about in the weekend, getting to see everybody and do that. So
yeah. Well,
work on Sunday, redo on Monday, right?
Yeah, fix, repair on Monday or whatever the thing goes. But I learned a long time ago, I was watching the neighbors that don't work on Sundays, and they still would always finish. And they're farming more acres than me, but they would always finish before me. So I'm like, well, maybe it's not worth it. But it is tough. You get like a rainy spell, and that Sunday that is the ideal conditions and weather's coming back in. I mean, it's definitely a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah. But then you're also like, observe the day of rest or, go to church and stuff. But then on the same deal, it's like, are we being stewards of what God's provided to us too by not, taking opportunities? So the days we do go combine on Sundays in the afternoon, that's kind of what I tell myself, I guess. I'm being a steward of what we're caretakers of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's to spend time with family and get burned out. If you did this for 3 weeks straight and didn't have a day off, there's some morale potential issues there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, a little break doesn't hurt nothing.
No, it sure doesn't. And a lot of times it saves a lot of money in repairs too.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's I know we won't seed on Mother's Day ever again. We did that one year, and everything we seeded that day got 100% hailed out. So, yep, there's a sign. Don't work on Sunday.
There is some curse on Mother's Day. You cannot convince me otherwise. I don't know what it is, but you just don't work on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
What you're doing is very cool. And I can't imagine the work you go into the YouTube on top of the farming. I mean, is it just you or is it a team effort?
I do 90% of the editing on a video, and then Amy will check the audio levels, be like, oh, this clip's too long of tractor just in the field doing something, that's too long or whatever. Like I lost my attention. I'm like, well, if it's losing your attention, it's going to lose lots of people's attention too. So yeah, fix that.
Whoa,
that's great.
whoa. What you just said, I think 90% of people putting out there would never admit. But that is the key. I've done it too, where I'm editing a podcast and I'm like, I'm looking at something shiny. I'm like, oh, this probably has to be shortened up. It's good that you're able to admit that.
And there's stuff that I think is interesting, and probably 90% of the farmers that are watching this video are going to think are interesting because people like the equipment and stuff like that. But more than like 5 or 10 seconds of a clip of something that's not that super exciting is a little much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to tone some of that stuff down, and she's good about picking all that up. And I might edit a video in the tractor and it's too noisy to do all the sound stuff. I leave the computer for her to check the video out, and then she will upload it to YouTube, and then I can finish it from my phone and publish it or make it go live whenever I want. So yeah, she's a huge help on that. I never really asked Dad what he thought about showing the farm on YouTube, and I kind of just went for it. And really, I had no idea what's going on, but they snowbird in the winter, and they share with their friends. Like, they ask what we do, and like, here, there's a YouTube channel that shows what we do. So thankful that they're on board with it as much as they are. And whether or not we had any intentions of doing what it's doing in the beginning, like, that's where it's at now, and thankful that they're behind it. It was a long time that Amy was not on board with it, just because I would be editing a video after the kids went to bed, and taking up family time with this and that and whatever. But as it's growing, she's got behind it more now than she was in the past. So,
hey, don't you think that's kind of the key? I could sit here and name people that were really good at doing things, and the spouse never got on board, and they're really no longer doing it. It sounds like it's kind of a reoccurring theme when people are really successful and growing, is that it's more of a team effort with the spouse than just themselves.
Yeah, and I had thought this is taking too much of my time, so I'm going to try using an editor and do it that way. The videos just didn't have my touch anymore, and like letting that control go is tough. And ended up bringing it back and doing it all myself. We homeschool, and now that school is out, she's like, I'm willing to help you more on this now that I don't have to do school stuff every day. That'll be a big help too. And it, like, the time thing, like, I know, like, I talked to Nick Welker about it a lot. Like, he has most of his videos edited by somebody else. It's tough to let go of control for that. I almost spend as much time uploading stuff to like a cloud-based deal and editing video, like cutting clips out that I don't want in there too. And like, here's a storyboard, kind of like, that's a lot of work. Like, it was just as much work as me just doing it myself.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
But it definitely takes a team. That's for sure. Like, you know it. Your family's involved in all your like even this.
It just wait as your daughters get older. My daughter's actually starting to do some of it now too. It's fantastic when you can push stuff off.
That's kind of like my daughter had a YouTube channel before I did. She does a little cooking show.
Damn
and
kids.
Hey, there's potential here. Like maybe I should do one for the farm too. And so.
Yeah, you see how much those kids that do the Nerf videos make? It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. I think our society has a problem with technology and letting YouTube be a babysitter, but that's a whole other podcast.
You heard it here first, folks. Tony Fast says, get rid of YouTube.
As a babysitter.
All right, Tony, I love what you're doing. I like what you're doing. You seem very, very down to earth, and that seems to come through on your videos. And I want to thank you for doing them.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Is that the right answer to that?
Yeah, that's all you need to say. So where can people find you on the old social media channels?
Fast Ag Montana is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I guess, all the same.
Awesome. Well, Tony, you're doing a fantastic job, and I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
And everybody else, we hope you tune in next week.
And thank you for listening to the Shark Farmer Podcast. I am your host, Rob Sharkey. Please visit us at www.sharkyfarms.com. And just search for Shark Farmer to follow me on Twitter. Later.